Okay, so we've had instances to where we've had people within the hardcore Xbox Twitter community, let's be honest here, who are telling those of us that are like, look, man, this Xbox platform thing is not looking good. They're telling us, oh boy, don't you go praying and for Xbox's downfall, because if you do and you play somewhere else, don't be surprised if you get $1,000 games and $20,000 PlayStations and Switches. And I think that's a superficial and very weak argument. I think it works on other rabid Xbox fans who keep falling for the okie doke as it relates to Xbox. They've been falling for it when it was just 4 games. They were falling for it when Satya was just talking about Activision Blizzard. And I believe they're falling for it again when it comes to a lot of these changes that we're seeing in retail stores, right? That, Xbox is releasing in Target as well, because, and they are just, I can't blame Target or Walmart. They're just fulfilling their obligation as partners with Xbox, to just put out these blanket generic statements. But we're still partners. Of course, they're still partners. There's evidence that there's Xboxes still being sold or available for sale at Target and Walmart's. The shelves have not been completely removed, but something is happening. I talk about this in another video where I'm like, look, something is definitely happening, because I went to my local Walmart and it's not just empty, but the spaces where there were games and gift cards has been completely removed. And as I was surveying the area, it looked like that shelf space was given to Nintendo as they were now making room for Switch 2 items. So something's going on. I'll break that down in another video. You definitely want to check it out. I'll leave a link to it below here somewhere in the description. But yeah, if you're not of that ilk, if you're not of that rabid parasocial fanboy base, then that line of reasoning is a deflection, and you know it is. If you're hearing that line of reasoning, oh, don't wish for their demise because you don't know what's going to happen. $20,000 consoles and $1,000 games. It's Neo Geo all over again. Ah! If you're not falling for that bullpucky, good for you. If you are falling for it, let me help you out here. What's up, people? It's your boy MM2K. Again, breaking this down for you. Check out this video. Check us out too. If you're into cloud gaming, go check out Cloud Dosage. We contribute to content over there at Cloud Dosage, and also check out the fine people that write for clouddosage.com at clouddosage.com, and check us out here too at MM2K Gaming YouTube, and at sometimes Twitter. Okay, all right. Oh, not Twitter, Twitch. All right, so let's talk about it. Let me show you guys this, if it'll let me. So this is a video of Mr. Boomstick. We like to call him Mr. Broomstick, because there's just a lot of trash to sweep up after this guy. After this guy babbles his way across the microphones and the inner tubes. He holds this is one of those rabid parasocial Xbox fanboys that we talked about earlier, that believes all things Xbox, and has just, become a mouthpiece, just become an extension of Xbox marketing. Now, if you're the average gamer, that is not serving to you at all. He is serving to a group of people that, again, have obtained a parasocial relationship with Xbox for whatever reason. They don't have any friends, family. This is all they got. And you find that a lot of these people don't play games. right? That's all they have in life. You're not one of those people that have such pathetic access to grass and other humans. Then you got to be careful before you fall in the net of this misinformation here. So what's been happening for years and years and years is, for the last several years under the regime of Phil Spencer, we've been told by these people that Phil Spencer was going to make Xbox a dominant force again, like how it was with the 360 era. It's going to be even better. They were going to have the games. They had better games, had the better hardware by far. The PlayStation was still going to have great games, but they wasn't even going to be able to compete with the Xbox Series X, the world's most powerful console. If anything, the base PlayStation 5 was going to be on par with the Series S. We're even hearing bullpucky right now where they're like, the PlayStation 5 Pro is on par with the Xbox Series X, right? Just all this fan fiction, right? And again, it's not self-fulfilling for anybody, because the way that the average gamer is reacting to these consoles and these services is it's completely different. It's the antithesis of what these people are saying. So because all that they've said has been debunked by reality, and people that have been battling back and forth and debating and arguing with the likes of these people, who could be equally fanboys, or there could be people like me who are just trying to raise awareness to the unsuspecting gamer. They're taking their good old time and they're saying, ha ha, you were wrong. Now own it. Now, to give credit where credit is due, Colt Eastwood came out and did what I had to do after Stadia had died. As you guys can remember, I was a big supporter of Stadia. I love what it did. I would never change my support for the platform. The only thing I would change and would need to change is how I articulated my belief system, or not necessarily my belief system, but the likelihood of their survival. Yes, did I always have the disclaimer, or did I at times have the disclaimer, you know what? We're not in the boardrooms. We don't know what's going to happen. And this thing could die out in 2024. I said they could make the decision to kill it in 2023, and they could kill it in 2024. And could I use that to say, hey, look, I was only a year off? Yeah, I could make that argument, because a lot of fanboys and parasocial people do that. But I don't fit under that. I was just a supporter of what the platform was aiming to do, but was unsuccessful at. I had to come out there and be honest and say, hey, look, even though this is what I thought, and even though I had a lot of evidence in support of me, in support of my thought process, I should have been more careful in what I was telling you guys. Because of those connections, because I predicted so many things and was battling out there with these fanboys and was able to show and prove to you the difference between what was being said in the internet versus the reality of what the platform was capable of, I had more trust in my favor. And I hurt that favor by being so staunch in the belief system that this thing would last significantly longer than what it did at worst. You know what I mean? So I had to come out there and I had to be honest about that. And then I had to make apologies to some of my most nefarious, quote unquote, enemies, the Google Graveyard dude, and so forth. And say they had it right. Ain't that something? Shout out to Colt Eastwood for doing something somewhat similar, a tenth of that, but it was brave for him to do that. And it was, and I think, and it was a good thing to do. And I think it goes a long way into at least establishing some type of trust with the average gamer, as this thing looks like it's going down an ugly path, right? You can still be in support of Xbox and still, have trust in the vision, but you got to be honest about how things look for the unsuspecting gamer, the consumer that is coming to you to be informed. Because everybody's not coming to you guys for rah, rah, rah. We love you. And you don't have this, you don't say, hey, look, we're just a rah, rah, rah. Well, some content creators do. There are some content creators that said, hey, look, we over here, we are not unbiased. We are all about supporting Xbox. That's what we do. So if you're looking for unbiased information, this is not the place to come. And I can applaud that. At least, your allegiance, you're not denying it. You're not denying it. And you're just saying, hey, look, we're just here to flip pom-poms for this said product. And I can applaud that. At least you're being transparent with the consumer. But for those of you that are looking, that are pretending to be transparent with the consumer and being information givers when you're just being rhetoric throwers, till you do what Colt did, I don't see how any trust can be established. Right? But more importantly than that, that's not what they're doing. Instead of being honest and saying, look, we got this wrong, they now want to guilt trip you for them being wrong. Let me show you what I mean. I want you guys to listen to this, and we're going to play this, and then we're going to talk about it on the back end. So let's talk about it. Here it goes.
And I have no idea why people want Xbox gone, because Derek's right. And I've this is probably the first time I've ever agreed with him. It would destroy the gaming ecosystem. People don't realize that. You guys are pissed that Game Pass that's giving you you guys are pissed that Game Pass is going to give you, or is raising the price $30 and they're going to give you 75 games. You get access to 500 titles at all. You're going to get first party things. You're going to get so much for $30. If you're pissed at that, wait until Xbox leaves the space and you're looking at $2,000 PlayStation consoles, $120 Switch exclusive titles. There's going to be really nobody to kind of hold people back to like keep that expectation, because they all need each other. There's a synergy there and they all fight for for your value, for your time. And the less that are there to fight for your time, the more that they can control you and your wallet for this gaming hobby that you love, that you're passionate about.
So there you have it. You heard it, my friends. If you continue down this path, will you hold us accountable for what we've said that was wrong? And you complain, or just complain to Microsoft to where you just don't accept the stuff that they're trying to spoon feed you. They're going to walk away from this. And if they walk away from this, you are going to be paying all this money for this, because Microsoft is holding PlayStation in check. So let me ask you a question. When did they start holding them in check? Did they start holding them in check when they got PlayStation 5 dev kits and hid them behind frosted mirrors as they were developing Sea of Thieves for PlayStation 5? Huh? How about when they ported Hi-Fi Rush over there right before they gutted the studio, or got rid of the studio, or sold the studio off, right? Grabbing one of the best Xbox games this generation. How about when that game came over and it, even though it was slightly better performed on PlayStation than it did for Xbox? Is that when you guys held them in check? How about when I believe it was Gears? You correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But is it Gears or some games, right? Or multiple games, if not just one? Did Xbox hold them in check when they took the game, ported it day and date, and I think it's just Gears Reloaded or whatever, but whatever game it was, ported it day and date to PlayStation. The PlayStation version is getting a physical copy, I believe through Limited Run or somebody, but the Xbox version isn't. I can't remember what game it is, but it's a first-party Xbox game that's getting a physical, a full-fledged physical version, disc and all that other good stuff for PlayStation, not getting one for Xbox. Is that when they held him in check? Broom and Company? This is absurd. This is fully absurd. It's a guilt trip, and it's a sorry excuse for not doing the honorable thing like Colt and saying, you know what, I get it. I've misled some of you, and it's my fault that I did it. Now, you probably saw this caption before. Here, let me put it up here. The caption I have is such baloney. The weakest of arguments. TLDR. I was wrong about Xbox being a dominant force, so instead of owning up to it, I wanted to deflect with, you better hope I end up right somehow. Or, I said again, you gotta give a thumbs up to Colt Eastwood for owning his stuff. The rest of yous, yeah, this is why if you are a gamer that just happens to like Xbox, or you happen to prefer Xbox, you gotta stay away from these parasocial people. I remember, like, even back in the day, there was a lot of capping and stuff happening for Xbox. Hey, I was responsible for it. I'll tell you guys about my history. I started doing YouTube content to discredit PlayStation. So I understand all the tricks and, the switcheroonies and stuff that, Xbox diehards like to do here in favor of Xbox. But when it was done back in the day, I'm not saying that it was honorable, but when it was done back in the day, it was done in the belief that, hey, there was a certain standard that Xbox has to work its way back to. They ran into an issue with the Xbox One. They had a stumble. They got to recalibrate, and they're going to recalibrate, and they're going to give us what we got, as far as quality is concerned in the Xbox 360 era. They're just working to it. We're going to give them time to get back to that, because they had the kerfuffle of the Xbox One launch. To give them time, we are going to hyper focus on the strengths of Xbox and downplay the strengths of PlayStation or whatever. But as long as they are actually and actively working towards this, the thing that brought us here in the first place, and as this, the quality, the bangers, all the other stuff that was prominent in the 360, the innovation, the stuff that was prominent in 360 era, when it was clear that you were not working towards that, that's when the gloves were off and you started to see an exodus. I remember it was started as early as with Quantum Break going day and date to PC. People were like, hold on, how is the console going to maintain its value if its games are going day and date to PC? We're going to lose people to PC. We're going to lose valuable people to PC. And Phil Spencer, I can't believe you, crap gamer. I can't believe that you're not going to buy a game because it's releasing day and date on PC. And what ended up happening? Crap was right. Your biggest supporters, your biggest users per capita said, oh, if you're releasing your games day and date on PC, I'm not wasting money on the console. I'm going to go to PC where it's going to play best. So what ended up happening? You cause a catch-22. Your biggest spenders went over to PC. Therefore, you had the slowest margin growth out of all of the competitors until you bought ABK. And that forced you to put more games on PC. It's like a catch-22. Like I said, it's like, oh my gosh, once you open Pandora's box, now you got to keep doing it, because people are like, oh, Well, you're going over. So now you're forced to support PC even more because you got to extract this money from them. You're losing people on the console, which means that they're not supporting your storefront. They're supporting Steam storefront because they're not going to Windows Store because it's trash. And now you're forced to now double up your efforts on PC in order to make fruit of these people abandoning your console. And you're never catching up. You're never getting that growth back. So now you're left in this endless cycle of losing money or going to PC first, losing money because you're losing support in your own store where you make the most money. And then now you got to double down on PC to try to make up for the money that you lost for going to PC in the first place. It's like an Abbott and Costello who's on first type thing. Yeah. That's what's happening with Xbox. And people were catching on back in 2016. People like Crab Gamer, who were some of the biggest Xbox supporters. When Xbox the excuses shouldn't even been made for Xbox, right? Okay. Then I did a video on this, but then it really started to fall apart with Crackdown 3. After Phil Spencer came out and said, I've been playing Crackdown 3 and it is the game that Xbox gamers deserve. He said something to that effect on Twitter. And Crackdown 3 came out and it was the biggest pile of trash we've seen out of Xbox to get so much attention in a long time, if ever. That's when the faithful started to go away. That's when the faithful like Crap Gamer and Mooch and other people started to move away. Now Crap Gamer would try on several occasions to come back and support Xbox again. I think that was for content creation reasons. I don't think he ever really cared for Xbox after that because he realized under Phil Spencer it's just not the same. And then last but not least, this push to third party that even fractured the relationship with Tim Dog, the person who knows Phil personally and who Phil called up and said, hey, look, I'm at this bar. You want to meet me? Let's go hang out and chill out. Fractured that relationship. So now that we're in this situation, people want to continue to deceive you. Now, why is this happening? Number one, again, the parasocial relationships are so deep. And this is the only identity that a lot of these people have. This has become part of their life stone. After this, they have nowhere to go. In life, nowhere to go. But then there's the more nefarious thing. Because it's not cool to deceive people because you don't want them to go away because you have nobody else. But it's kind of sad. Right? It's kind of sad, and you can have some level of sympathy for people like that, right? But I can't have sympathy for those that just are doing this for the clicks, for the ad revenue, and they just don't want to see the ad revenue dry up. We have Xbox content creators that the tools, and all this other bull crap, only to now tell you, oh, well, thank you for your super chat. Thank you for all your support, but I'm going to use that money that you gave me and I'm going to PC. And now you're looking and you're saying, well, hold on, I supported you all this time because you were keeping me informed on why I should keep this console. And now you're using my money that I don't have enough of to go to PC with you? You're using that to go to PC? Yeah, I can't respect that. And I think it's time now that you guys show some self-respect if you are informed. I know this is a hard ask. Show some self-respect. Pry yourself away from such scum. Or if you're an unsuspecting gamer, turn these people off. They serve you no good. They're too infused in this because it's their life stone, or they just don't care about you as gamers. Sad. It's sad. But that's where we're at right now. the most superficial of arguments. It means nothing. Xbox hasn't competed in a long time. They told you they weren't competing on the kind of funny interview where Phil Spencer said we can't out console PlayStation. I think it was determined there that, hey, you're going to work together, and that's evidence in them getting dev kits. They showed PlayStation their plans to get out of the console market and, and not really be a competitor. So let these parasocial parasites just drown with the Titanic. Just let them go with it. Don't get caught up. With that said, that's it from your boy. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Because like I said, who cares what I think? But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. It will lead you to Hard Knock Digital Culture, Cloud Dosage, MM2K Gaming. With that said, you all have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.